Hey guys, it's Nick with you again. Today, the question of the week is very simple. What was your favorite subject in school? My favorite subject in school was, what do you think? English, of course. What a big surprise. Now, English was my favorite subject because I had an amazing teacher. Now, I didn't study in Russia. I didn't study in Moscow. So I didn't have an old grumpy Russian teacher. I had an old grumpy English teacher. Her name was Leslie Langtree. I loved her to bits. Leslie Langtree was the most amazing teacher you can ever find. She always made jokes out of everything. Now, Leslie Langtree was 82 years old, surprisingly. And I, at the time, was 15 years old, more or less. And I remembered that she was the only teacher who challenged me and made me a better person as well as a better student. The reason why I loved English so much is because every activity was so much fun. We had fun every single lesson. There was no boring lessons. Every time we did an exercise, she would first explain why we need to do this exercise, and then she would explain, well, how is this going to make us better, not only as students, but also as people, which was absolutely amazing. And the last reason why I also think English was my favorite subject, I had learned other languages before I started learning English. And this made the process of learning English much easier, and I didn't feel like English was a hard language at all compared to maybe languages like French or Spanish. So when I came to English lessons, I was the happiest person in the world. So what about you guys? What is your favorite subject in school?
Hello everyone, it's good to see you. I'm going to tell you about what my favorite subject was. Many of you could try to guess what my favorite subject was, but you would probably not get it right. You would say English, right? Well, my favorite subject is geography. I started to like geography when I was just a small boy. We had a geography teacher named Miss Takeda. And can you guess where Miss Takeda is from? Probably not, but her nationality is Chinese. And she was born in Canada, but her family and her extended family lived in China. So often she would visit and then she would tell us about the stories, and anyways, it was very interesting. One day she decided to take us on a field trip where we got to experience what Chinese culture was like. We got to see some of their traditions as well as practice writing, which was very, very difficult. But long story short, geography is what led me up to the biggest moment of my life, is when I decided to move away from Canada. And I left Canada because I like geography so much. I studied other countries and I thought it was so interesting, so I decided to listen to Miss Takeda. No, she didn't tell us to move to China, but I chose to move to China anyways. And there, after that, I moved to Russia, and who knows where life will take me next. But what I'm saying is geography is my favorite subject, and look what happened. I think it's important to know what your favorite subject is at school, because maybe it's a good way to understand what you want to do in life. What can you tell me about your favorite subject?
Hello everyone, it's Jonathan again, and I've been asked to talk to you about my favourite school subject. It can be hard to talk about it because most people don't think they have a favourite school subject. But I actually do. My favourite school subject is one that a lot of people hate, and that's maths. But there's a reason for that. I really like games and logic and puzzles, and to me, maths is all about solving puzzles and logic and games. In fact, I think the three main subjects you have at school teach you those three different skills. Maths, like I said, teaches you logic. It teaches you how to solve a problem. English, for me, or Russian, for you, is not teaching you how to speak those languages. It's not teaching you how to read those languages. It's teaching you how to communicate with other people, how to talk to other people, to have an idea in your head and let somebody else know about that idea. Science, one of the other three most important ones, it is a lesson where you have to get information and be able to quickly digest it and understand it. Yes, you can be developing new science, and obviously if you're at the top of if you are a scientist, this doesn't apply, but the subject at school is less about remembering all this information, but being able to read it and understand it. It's data processing for you instead of a computer. But out of those three, I really enjoy puzzle solving and logic. And that's why I really have an affinity to mathematics, or maths as everybody else calls it. But anyway, what is your favourite subject at school?
Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing great, and I hope you're doing well as well. Are you having fun at home, or do you miss being at school? Today, I'm going to talk to you about school. I am going to tell you my favourite subject. Now, as you know, I am very, very old, and I do not go to school anymore. But when I was younger, I enjoyed school, unlike most of my friends who hated school. Now, at school, I liked most of my subjects, except maths. It was the only subject I hated. But when we got to high school, we got to choose a language. You can choose either Japanese, Spanish, French, or Maori, the native language of New Zealand, and I chose French. French was my favourite subject. As soon as I started French, I loved it. I enjoyed learning the grammar and the vocabulary. I felt that it was a useful subject, and I got very, very good marks. I kept taking French all through school, and when I finished school and went to university, I also took French. I loved studying French at university. I had great teachers, and I even spent 6 months in France on an exchange learning the language there in the native environment. I felt that I liked French the most because it was useful. I was able to speak a new language that I couldn't understand before, and that was very exciting compared to all of the other school subjects. So, what was your favourite subject at school? Did you choose any language apart from English?